Okay. Hey guys, Tom LoBianco here, editor and founder of 24 Site News, joined with the Matt Lewis in the news. We got a lot to get to. Matt, how's it going? How's your weekend, man?
Hey, buddy. Pretty good. It is hot here in West Virginia, and I'm sure it is where you are too, man.
It was steaming. You know that little water trap they have with the HVAC units? Like I'm
Oh yeah,
you
I,
know,
I've
like
I've had a
technically
problem with that this year myself. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, technically, it's like 80 something degrees, and it's like I walk outside and like everything is fogged. My glasses, the car, like I open the car, it's just insane. It's and then I walk back inside, and it's like all the sweat pours off, and I'm like, well, it's the Mid-Atlantic. This is what we signed up for.
That's right, baby. Humidity, heat, and humidity.
And
So
it's
yeah, it's not
just
a dry heat. It's legit, man. But hey,
it's
it's summer. I know later we're going to probably talk a little about Superman, which is something I did
yes.
on a hot day with my kids. If you can't afford the pool, if you can't afford a pool, so mission accomplished.
I did go, and of course, for those who don't know us, we are both Maryland people, and we're both O's fans.
Yes,
This is a tough year to be an
been
O's
rough.
fan.
Yeah, been rough.
Um, Having Camden Yards signed for, I think it was another 30 years. That was a great relief. I think that was last year. So I actually did my first O's game of the season this year. Um, it was incredibly hot. They did not perform very well.
Mm. Did
But
Mr. Splash come out though? They have this
no, no,
section. They have a section. Well, I think it only happens when they hit a home run or do well. But there's a Mr. Splash guy who comes out and gets an entire section of fans wet, which
yeah,
is great in July. Not ideal in April. If
no.
you happen to sit there.
No, we were shut out by the Marlins
Mm.
of all. Well, actually, you know what? No.
So you just went. So you were just there, like
Yeah,
when?
2 days ago.
Okay, recently,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, just incredibly hot. I don't know what the hell's going on with our bats, but whatever. Um,
I
sometimes you
know,
have
and they
to
were
lose.
just starting to. This will lose all of our viewers, but they were just starting to turn the corner. I mean, they were 11 games out of first place, but it seems like they had gotten their mojo and now
Yeah.
fallen on hard times again. So maybe in the second half of the season, if we don't end up trading away all of our talent for some magic beans.
Just an absolute, and I'll tell you that, what was it? I think it was last week. I think last week there was what, 22-8, like some
Yeah,
massive
like a
blowout. It was
football score.
incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, friends, if you're watching us, so you catch us on Substack, on YouTube, on the Twitters. I believe, are we on Facebook too?
I'm trying. Like, if you are watching us somewhere, let me know because I'm now trying to stream multiple platforms
Yeah.
like you, double penetration, as we say. We're all
Exactly.
over the place. Let's see if it actually works. I don't know.
um, if you are watching us on any of these wonderful platforms, any of these excellent social media platforms, do spread the word. We got a lot to get to today. If
Yeah.
you're on Substack, go down to that bottom right hand corner and hit that heart button because that actually helps a ton with the algorithm. So go ahead and smash that. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. It's hot in DC. People are sweating, even those indoors at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the
Yeah.
White House, because Epstein is the story that will not go away.
This is so fascinating, Tom, because you're right. It won't go away, which is in and of itself interesting, right? Normally,
Yeah,
Donald Trump can change the subject from stories, and he
right.
tried to do that. Didn't he recently say he wanted to like jail Rosie O'Donnell or something?
Right.
It's a blatant attempt to change the subject to something
Right.
even more outrageous, but it's not working
Right.
because for a variety, we can get into why. But I think to me, that's just one of the interesting things about this is that it's not going away. And I don't know if it will go away. And so,
Yeah.
Donald Trump is, to me, this is sort of the crazy thing, right? Like Donald Trump has been found liable of whatever the term of art is, sexual assault, whatever it is. He's been impeached twice. He
Correct.
once for inciting, a riot on the Capitol. None of those things mattered. But what seems to matter, at
Right.
least to his base, is the Jeffrey Epstein story. This, for whatever
Yes.
reason, this is now he's gone too far. He
Yeah.
didn't go too far before, but now he's gone too far. It's amazing.
Right. I mean, and I think we both have a very kind of a unique perspective into this. I've covered conservatives, Republicans for years and years. You are still a conservative. I don't know if you're a Republican
I'm
anymore.
technically registered as a Republican, but you know how that goes. Until I join the America Party.
I mean, for folks who don't know, Matt, I mean, this is the literal embodiment of Reagan right here. You
Yeah.
didn't leave your party left you.
I would say the figurative embodiment of Reagan, not the literal embodiment of Reagan. How did they figure this out? But no, you are onto something. Like, it's sort of like in the movie Office Space when the guy's named Michael Bolton, and they said like, why? He's complaining he's named after the singer, and he's like, why don't you change your name? And he's like, he's the one who sucks, not me.
That's
I'm
right.
like, why should I leave why should I leave the movement or the party? I still believe what I always believed.
Yeah. It's the Epstein thing really, if you look at, and I started writing this, I'll probably send it around tomorrow over at 24 Site News, um, is in the decade of Trump's dominance of number one of the Republican Party, but also clearly of American politics, the American political scene. I mean, this has been the Trump era. Um, it's There's only a few consistents in terms of policy and stories and narrative. One of them clearly is immigration. Okay. Like that is, absolutely 100%, tied to Trump. That is canon, as they say. And the other one is this, child sex trafficking as an issue, focusing heavily on that. And, whether that is real in the case of Jeffrey Epstein, adjudicated, and whatever, and as a result, whatever happened in the jail cell, whether that was his hands or somebody else's hands, um, but also fabricated, going all the way back to Pizzagate, where
Mhm.
they took an email from John Podesta that had been hacked by the Russians, put out by WikiLeaks, and it was talking about walnut sauce risotto something, which somehow translated into sucking the blood of children through a satanic cabal at Comet Ping Pong in pizza.
Wasn't cheese pizza was like a code for something?
I I mean, years ago I had an editor who told me, he's like, "Dude, do you have to go down so many rabbit holes?" I'm like, "Rabbit holes are where the best stories are." Although I have to tell you, in my old age now, I'm not going down as many rabbit
Mhm.
holes because it's just impossible to follow the logic of 8chan. Like,
Well, also when you're writing a story, you can't put in too much nuance, you know what I mean? Like, well,
yeah,
they said it was children, but it's not really children. It was, you start like having all these caveats and like exceptions, and eventually it's like, what are you trying to say, man? Like it's meaningless. So, but it is so weird. It's hard not to go on these, chasing these whatever. I mean, because it's such a bizarre story, and we know about the ping pong or
yeah.
comet, whatever that was called. It's so weird and bizarre. I will say this though, Tom. I
Hmm.
will say this. As it pertains specifically to the Epstein story, okay? It is curious, right? So we do know for a fact that Trump and Epstein were very tight.
Yes.
And we've got, quotes and I think audio of Trump talking about like
Mhm.
how great that guy Epstein is. He likes girls even younger than I do, that kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Um, then I believe I have to look this up, but I believe it's the case that originally, was it a Trump or a Bush investigator who kind of had a plea deal that left Epstein sort of a slap on the wrist. Do you remember that early on?
Oh, you know who that was? That was, I believe it was the first term, and he was, I think, is the Palm Beach
Yes.
district attorney, who was nominated for labor secretary, I
Yeah.
believe,
Yep.
Alex Acosta.
That's the story I'm thinking of. So, like, well,
Yeah,
it seems like a guy got off kind of light on something. I don't have to look that up. I don't remember the details, but it seems a little fishy, you
yeah,
know. Um, then you've got Epstein going to jail, right?
right.
And he's on suicide watch, but somehow I guess what did the guards they fell asleep or something? And then there's a minute missing. They've got like 8 or 12 hours. I forget how many. There's like a videotape of the cell, but for some reason there's a minute missing, which
Yeah,
maybe there's a I don't know. It seems a little weird. And
like,
then you've got Pam.
we
Then you've
live
got
in a
Pam Bondi.
surveillance state, and yet somehow there still is that Zapruder film. Like,
Well, I'll get to the JFK thing in a minute here because I think that does tie in. But then you've got Pam Bondi, the attorney general, going on Fox News and basically saying that the Epstein client list is on her desk as she speaks.
right,
So there's like a
right,
lot. You don't have to be insane tinfoil hat wearing
right.
to think this is a little coincidental, isn't it?
Oh, and you know what? And as I was doing, revisiting in this case, things that are, 8, 9, 10 years old, which I haven't thought about in that long. I'm reminded how much Trump himself fueled all of this. I mean, this was in many ways, QAnon itself stretches all the way back to 2017. Trump would play cutesy with it at points, and
Mhm.
he was asked about it in the 2020 campaign repeatedly. You know, if you, it's so hard to remember some things sometimes, but if just do a little googling, a little chat GPTing, QAnon was the where we go when we go all the storm, et cetera, taking on the alleged deep state, that et cetera, that Trump so many of the rioters that attacked the Capitol on January 6th had that. I mean, among the many images and visuals of January 6th is literally the quote QAnon shaman.
Right.
So this is foundational in Trump's movement. I was watching over the weekend, and I have to admit, this is the first time I've tried to watch one of like a full episode as opposed to a clip. Flagrant, the Andrew Schulz, the mustache guy.
Mhm.
I mean,
Comedian, podcaster.
yeah, pretty amusing. Uh, and I'll tell you that, like, him and his crowd, like his crew, were just ripping the living crap out of Trump and his team,
Mhm.
being like, "You guys sold us this for
Yeah.
forever."
I
I mean,
think Trump that's
yeah,
an interesting point. So for two quick things.
yeah,
One, let's not forget even before that, Donald Trump's modern political career is premised on a
yes,
conspiracy theory, which is the
yeah,
birther movement, right? That Obama was not born in America. That pisses off Obama, where Obama attacks him at that White House Correspondents' Dinner, which I think
right,
really is the impetus of Trump running for president. So it goes back to a conspiracy theory. But the point I was going to make is I think Trump, everybody's talking about the base. Like, is he going to lose the base and all this? Like, there's different parts of the base and there's different
right,
elements. And there's been many times people have said he's going to lose the base and it never happens. But I will tell you, I think there's one portion of the quote unquote base that he does really have to be worried about. And it is these podcasters, the
oh
Theo
yes,
Vons,
yeah,
the Joe Rogans. I don't think these guys are hacks. I
no,
do not think they are partisan hacks who are
yeah,
totally in bed with Trump. Now, look,
yes,
they may be guilty of audience capture, which is a real problem for, frankly, anybody in our business.
right,
But I don't think that they are sold on Trump from an ideological or partisan standpoint at all. And I think that they tend to be people who don't know that much about politics, but are actually at least sincere about
yeah.
their, they may be dumb in some cases, but I think they're open minded.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's why go back to the Pleistocene era of this administration. 3 or 4 weeks ago when Elon started tweeting this out, right? What was that, about a month ago now? Something like that. And I do remember, somebody pointed out that it's like, oh, well, Elon, deleted it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that matters because he has put it into the bloodstream. And if you look at the bro podcast world, that sphere, as you noted, it also encapsulates a lot of the things that he was attacking Trump on for the quote big beautiful bill, which is spending, debt. It wasn't that long ago. I think Moody's was the most recent one to downgrade our credit rating, which is
Yeah.
absolutely bonkers.
And Elon hasn't given up. I mean, he did
Yeah.
take down the tweet saying that Trump was on the client list, but he has not quit tweeting that Trump needs to release the list and
Right.
talking about the Epstein list. And
Right.
look, there's other people too. Laura Loomer, Tucker Carlson. They're coming up with these convoluted theories, right? Like Tucker's theory is Trump's not on the client list himself, but Trump is protecting people like, say, Israel, their involvement in this. And so now, frankly, to me, that in and of itself would be a disqualifier. If I honestly believed that Donald Trump, let's say that I'm a supporter of Trump and I'm a diehard, worried about this issue about these sex rings. If I'm sincerely interested in that, the idea that Trump is protecting pedophiles for geopolitical reasons doesn't do the trick for me. That to me, that doesn't really
right.
That's still a deal breaker, right?
It plays into that bigger narrative of allegedly what he has been against, right? And I'm not saying this is accurate or correct or but I'm just saying that this is the story, right?
Yeah.
This is the story and why it's a problem. All right, for why it's continuing to stick around. The story is that there is a shadowy elite Illuminati that goes to Davos. All right, that's the narrative that's put out there. In the fringes, in that story, they are Satanist that suck the blood of children, largely Democrats, media, etc. That's the story that's put out. That is the
There's an
conspiracy theory.
anti-Semitic aspect to this as well, because what you're just describing is also
Yes.
an anti-Semitic trope.
Hugely.
Jeffrey Epstein, of course, Jewish. Giselle's father was involved with the Mossad or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that
there are layers to it,
but yeah,
deep archetypes. And one of the reasons it's so sticky, so to say, is because Trump was supposed to be, and if you're a first time voter this time around, I mean, we've talked about this before, they talk so much talk after the 2024 election about people that showed up who they never expected to show up, tapping into the podcast audience, right? So if this is your first experience with Trump, all right, if this is your first time signing up for Trump University or Trump Steaks or buying a bottle of Trump wine, whatever it is, or the perfume, you might actually have believed some of the things that he was saying, and then to be let down, and then to start thinking, oh, well, gee, maybe he's part of the Illuminati too, because that's a repeated theme in the extremist wings of the base. I should note, not the entire
they're
base.
saying he's like the implication is, don't worry, Trump's not involved in this, but he has to protect the people who are. Who's it? The Dilbert guy, Scott something.
Yes, Scott
The
Adams.
Dilbert guy is same sort of thing. He's making a similar argument to Tucker, which is like, Trump, this is a real problem. Trump's not involved, but he has to protect these people as the commander in chief for the good of America. He has to do this. Like, that is not a great, if that's the best you got, if that is your best excuse, then that ain't great.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's really, so, I think that the way that they're handling it, and this kind of gets to an underlying problem of this Trump administration, which was true of the first term as well, but you didn't see it as much, which is, general ineptitude in the ranks. right? Because they made such a display of Epstein and whatnot. All right. I mean, if you remember the conspiracy theorist influencer people like Drano and Libs of TikTok, Chaya, I forget her name, Chaya Richik, um, walking out of the West Wing carrying the binders, saying Epstein, and it's in phase one. All right. So
Right.
this is an official White House presentation. All right. So they're saying, come back for more, right? At the same time, that's as around the same time Bondi did the interview on Fox and said, that there is a list. And I would note that the people who really understand this stuff, Julie K. Brown of the Miami Herald, if folks listening, watching, viewing right now, if you don't, please do go find Julie K. Brown. She is the expert on this. She has written extensively on this, arguably is responsible for this, even us, anybody even talking about it right now, because that case had been dormant. And Tara Palmieri has done incredible work on this as well. They will tell you, and they've noted repeatedly in the reporting, that there's no client list. Okay, this is not a list of people that Epstein had that were having sex with underage girls. So the reporters who have been covering this have said this repeatedly. This is in legal documents, okay? But the presentation from Trump and his team is that there is a list.
Yes.
And now that they're in and they don't want to have to deal with it, they say, well, there is no list and this is reality. And it's like, well, guys, you've literally spun up this part of the world into believing this, and they believe you.
Yeah. Well, I think the Trump culture, like the Trump influencer culture, at the elite level, including in his administration, because he brought in all of these people who either were themselves podcasters or Fox hosts or had just learned how to play that game. So the Trump influencer culture says you can never go too far. Right. Let's be more outrageous, be more. It'll never catch up to us. We'll never get burned by being more exciting, more. We'll always figure out a way out, right?
Right.
And so if you're Pam Bondi with that culture, what do? You put out the binders. You go on Fox, and if you're asked a question, you say, "Oh yes, in fact, not only is there a client list, but I've got it on my desk right now, reviewing along with the JFK." You hype things, because what does Trump do? He hypes things. Now, I should note that goes against everything we know about politics before Trump, right? In fact, one of the big political maxims that I grew up being taught was under promise, overachieve. And that had nothing to do with, prudence in terms of, caring about the social fabric. It had to do with, from a political standpoint, you want to downplay expectations as it pertains to what you can produce so that you can then surprise people by exceeding their expectations. Trump does the opposite. Trump hypes things, right? Yeah. And I think that when the boss does something, everyone else picks up on it. So now we've got an entire sort of political culture and administration where everyone is in the business of constantly hyping things and doing cosplay. Think of what's her name, at the Homeland Security, right? Similar thing.
Yeah.
There's cosplay, there's hyping, and that is part of it. And so far, it's never caught up with them until possibly right now.
Yeah. Remarkable, right?
Yeah. You would have thought that it would have burned them already.
Well, speaking of things that burn people, I wonder if we should we ponder who might be the first to go?
Okay, so there's Bongino.
Yeah.
There's Kash Patel, and there's Pam Bondi, right? That has to be the big three on that list, right?
So let me ask then, who do you think gets the axe?
Look at you with the Chiron. This is great.
Professional production.
And we should just screenshot this and tweet this image right now, because I think that sells the conversation.
This is the state of things, as we enter into the
I think we should actually put our money where, not money, but we should make a prediction. So why don't you go first, Tom? Who do you think of these three will be the first to go?
I'll put. I mean, I'll put down $5. I'll Venmo you $5. Okay, that's about all
Okay, all
this
right,
is
you're
worth.
on $5.
Okay.
Okay, I can afford that.
Bongino.
Well, sadly, we're not going to make any money because that's my guess too.
Oh, damn.
I thought
Okay.
you were going to say Pam Bondi because there is a lot of pressure on Bondi, right? She's getting criticized by like Laura Loomer, for example. I think Loomer's calling her Blondie, which is like a derisive attack. And let me ask you this though, before we get into why we both think Bongino. Could you explain to me why Laura Loomer is mad at Pam Bondi specifically?
There we go.
Do we have a
Okay.
hiccup?
We're back. Yeah, the internet cut out.
All right.
So maybe it was neither Bongino nor Patel nor
Maybe.
Bondi. Maybe they hit our internet on this.
So my question for you was, could you
Yeah.
explain to me why is it that Laura Loomer is mad at Pam Bondi? Is it simply that Pam Bondi messed up politically by saying she had the client list? Is there a reason? I don't get it.
Look, my very, I mean, again, this is very rudimentary understanding of this iteration of Trump world and Laura Loomer in particular, is that it's about Loomer maintaining some relevance here, right? Going after, I don't know what the actual, personal background, or if there is any right there. Let me just check our streams here.
What's weird, Tom, is that this is not the first time that Laura Loomer has been like the voice of reason. I've seen her. She seems crazy a lot of the time, but every once in a while, she will make a point and kind of police the right and criticize like Candace Owens or Fuentes or whatever. And I wonder what that means if she's actually playing this elaborate game, because she does have the capacity to every once in a while make a really, serious point. And I think that would be like if I were advising the Trump administration, the same thing I would be telling them. I think she's mad at Pam Bondi because Bondi lied on Fox News and created a firestorm. I think it's as simple as that.
Easy target. Absolutely. Easy target. I think that sounds right to me. If you remember a couple months ago when they had the NSC firings, all right? There was like, she went in and claimed credit for it, but then like a couple weeks later, some reports came out and they're like, well, no, that was not Loomer. So it's kind of like it's like Chuck Schumer with the press release, the old joke that it's like the New York delegation would, make sure not to tell him because he would swoop in at the last minute and take credit for something. So I think there's an element of that with her as well. I think our streams have frozen. Let me just check my
Okay.
I'm looking. If you're with us right now, not hearing us, not seeing us, or you are seeing us, whatever it is, it's cutting out. Maybe we're hitting too many streams right now. But let me see. It seems that my internet,
I think looks like my Twitter's left. Maybe I've supplanted you.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, at least we're
I've taken
somewhere.
over.
Okay.
I'm the captain now.
Aha. Well, then we continue. We continue apace.
Well, okay. So Bongino then.
Well,
You and
he
I
feels
both.
like
You and
does.
I both think
Yeah.
if we're betting that Bongino's the one to go.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Not as strong and direct a relationship with Trump. That's it. I mean, that is the foundation of my estimation of this. Because Patel, he's he's especially since January 6th, aligned himself even closer. But Patel really goes all the way back to all the Trump Russia stuff at the beginning of the first term. Very tight with Devin Nunes, who became tight with Trump. Bondi was the attorney general. I forget the case that she tossed out, but in Florida, it was regarding him. It might have been one of the Trump. I think it might have been the university, maybe.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, and has had a long-standing relationship, direct relationship with him. So I think if there's anybody to go, it would probably be Bongino.
Here's something else to consider. Trump theoretically now is a lame duck, right?
Yes.
At some point, there's going to be a fight, and we're already seeing these internecine squabbles where like Laura Loomer's attacking Tucker Carlson, right? So there's going to be jockeying for position, like who is the real MAGA, okay,
Right.
and who's the pure version of this movement, and who are the sellouts, right?
Yeah.
Well, it could be that this Epstein controversy is the defining issue, and it could be that 5 years from now, someone like Bongino could say, "I knew they were all predators. That's why I quit. But you stayed in. You kept working for the deep state." That this could be. So if you're Bongino and you're thinking 5 years from now, when I'm trying to have a podcast career, I'm trying to be the number one YouTuber or whatever, what is going to position me better for Steve Bannon to endorse, or what you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
And it's not clear to me. So up until now, I think the smart money has always been on sticking with Trump.
Right.
But this could be the one where like maybe the smart bet is actually not to attack Trump directly, but to be on the more I don't know how to describe this side of the Epstein story, but that side, the more conspiratorial side of the Epstein story.
Are you saying that Bongino is running in 2028?
Well, look, there's a campaign for who's going to succeed Trump as the Republican standard bearer and maybe the president, but there is another campaign for who are going to be the influencers to emerge post-Trump. And right now there's a lot of people in that space, and I'm sure there's all of them can make a living, but there's only a finite number of people who can be at the upper echelon of this grift.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And so this could be like the defining issue when it comes to who is elevated in a post-Trump world as an influencer.
Amen, baby. Amen. Let's go. Let's move on to, because we could easily spend a decade talking about this, like some people have.
I'm just getting started, baby. I'm drinking. I'm halfway through my iced coffee, as you can see. We got time.
Let's go. Some breaking news that just happened, and this has been developing very interestingly recently with Putin not adhering to ceasefires, not honoring his word. Shocked, I say. All right, I think that's what most NatSec.
Wait, you're telling me that the former KGB agent can't be trusted?
He might be a liar. Might not be good for his word. Like, I'm shocked by this. So Trump authorized the sale and also overrode, by the way, Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth arbitrarily says no munitions. So today we have here, I'll read it off of Axios. Actually, no, here we go. Let's see. NBC News, Ukraine missiles. Trump announced during a meeting with the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, I don't know how to pronounce his name, that the U.S. will send Patriot missiles to Ukraine to help defend itself against Russian attacks. He also threatened to impose severe secondary tariffs. So I think it was Axios that reported this, but I was reading about those Patriot missiles. Those can get from Kiev or wherever you are in Ukraine. They can strike into Moscow.
Wow. So now we've gone from the Trump administration, possibly without Trump's knowledge and or permission, pausing support for Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
to the United States giving Ukraine the ability not only to defend themselves, but to
Mm-hmm.
attack into Russia. Huge development.
Massive.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm not really, you know, the first person you would go to talk about foreign policy and warfare. But I do think there's a tie-in, Tom, to our last conversation, which is the conservative movement. I mean, there was a huge fight on the right about whether America First should be, isolationist, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And you had recently, when Trump bombed Iran, people like Tucker Carlson up in arms saying that like
Right.
Trump is starting World War III. And this, to me, would seem to be yet another indication that that this coalition that Trump had, I don't want to say it was untenable because everyone's staying in the coalition, but
Mm-hmm.
clearly it does seem like in recent weeks there are now winners and losers, and Trump is finally sort of staking out something of a, I don't want to say a Trump doctrine because I don't think he really has a lot of deep abiding principles, but like if you're keeping score right now, it seems like the quote America Firsters have lost within this administration, at least
Yeah.
as of today.
Absolutely. This is, as you noted, in a second term, is when any executive starts thinking about capital L legacy and what is the history that will be written. Um, and I mean, yeah, going all the way back, going back to how powerful was Epstein as a story, it overshadowed Netanyahu last week being here in Washington. So, but to that point, right,
Oh, you think
bomb
that's an
strikes on
accident, Tom?
what's that?
You think that's just a coincidence? Come on, Tom. Wake up and smell the iced coffee.
Right?
That's what they want you to think.
um, so they did, strike an extraordinary bombing of a nuclear power, if you believe the word, the intel they were putting out there that allegedly Iran has, and there's actually quite a bit of questions about that. The indications that they do not have nuclear weapons capabilities right now, but are getting there. Um, Astounding. Also, neocon. All right, that fell within that world, right? Um,
Yeah, I mean, like if John McCain or Mitt Romney or Marco Rubio, or Ted Cruz had been president, this would have been something that they might have done. Very well
mhm,
might have
mhm.
done. Yeah, not a stretch to say that.
Very. I mean, right?
John McCain used to sing "Bomb, bomb, 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 Iran."
Right.
No joke,
I
folks.
know, man. Right. Um, well, so let's move on to. We're gonna wrap up here shortly. I do want to hit really quick, um, and before our stream blows up too, because apparently we're pushing the boundaries of the internet right now with
This
at
must
least
be
with our Wi-Fi.
our massive viewership and listenership is this is like getting a drudge link. Apparently, we're just
Yes, yes, right.
pressing the StreamYard system to its max.
Um, let's talk about, because I think that we're here in the middle of summer, and I think starting after Labor Day, we're going to start hearing a lot about Senate races, some tight House battles, potentially some gubernatorial races. I was really shocked to see the Ernst drop out or announce she's going to be retiring. And this latest thing out of Texas with Paxton's wife filing for divorce. Of course, Ken Paxton, top candidate for the against Cornyn right now, potentially. Um, let's see if that stands. What's your take on all this?
Now, I should probably disclose that once upon a time, my wife was a fundraising consultant for Ken Paxton.
Oh,
I mean, like
okay.
many years ago, but you know how that goes. Look, I think Paxton's up by 40 points or so to 20. I don't know how many. Paxton's kicking Cornyn's butt. And Tom, it was funny to me because, and obviously Ken Paxton is very problematic and scandal ridden. And it does make one wonder if he is the nominee, if finally Texas could actually be in play for
Mm,
Democrats. I'm
yeah.
still, I don't want to say I'm skeptical, but skeptical. Yeah, I'm skeptical. Not cynical, but skeptical.
Mhm.
But it does seem very likely that Paxton, if he is on the ballot, will beat John Cornyn. And I had to chuckle last week, Tom. You probably saw this. The National Republican Senatorial Committee, their spokesperson, put out a statement attacking Paxton on behalf of Cornyn, and it made me laugh because I'm like, would it surprise anyone if a year from now, like the NRSC is putting out a release saying
Mhm.
Senator Paxton has been a leader in Texas for family values and the sanctity of marriage and like all this BS. So no, it wouldn't surprise me if sometime in the future the NRSC, who just slammed Paxton for being basically a scumbag, is defending him and holding him up as a paragon of morality. Because guess what? That's happened over and over again, including with Donald Trump, a thrice married casino magnate, vulgarian, who now is the leader of the Republican Party.
The de facto, right? Jasmine Crockett, nobody, not one to sleep on. She understands the game. I mean, her ability to get press,
I
just
miss what's she up to lately? I missed this.
well, there's some rumblings out there that, I don't have any direct reporting on this, but there were some rumblings that she might be eyeing, a run for Texas, Senate.
Wow.
Oh, right?
So what
Yeah.
they've been trying to do is Allred or Beto, right? I mean, these guys who are like all is it Allred? Is that the guy's name who ran
Yeah,
last?
yeah, right.
Allred, he can come across as sort of a more moderate
Mhm.
candidate, and so obviously, if Crockett were to run,
Fascinating.
that's a totally different philosophy, right? It
Mhm.
says like the game of like, let's not be too crazy for Texas. Let's not be too extreme or too radical for Texas,
Mhm.
which hasn't worked, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, but that doesn't mean the theory is flawed necessarily. But
Mhm.
Crockett would obviously be a rejection of that theory.
Yes, it would. Potentially huge. Before we wrap up here, I wanna get to, the most important part of the last week and this weekend, which I'm shocked. Um, Superman. It's like
Yes. Da,
Superman
da,
has
da.
stormed the culture. Like, why is everybody worked up about this well, number 1, how was it? Is it any good? Like, should I go drop $30, to watch it in IMAX 5D?
Oh, I think you should definitely go see it if no other reason than to be a part of the zeitgeist.
Okay.
Um, because it is worth it's worth seeing, it's worth talking about, and whether it's worth the hype or not, it is the hype. And so I think if you're going to be involved in politics and culture, then it's worth seeing. I do have some the thing. So there are things that I liked about it. There are things that I don't like about it. Obviously, the market has spoken.
Yeah.
It is both critically and commercially acclaimed and successful
Stunning.
already. Um, I think that speaks more to the hunger out there
Mm.
for heroism and decency than
Hmm.
it does for the execution of the movie, which I think is
Cool.
uh, flawed. So there's great stuff in there, but I think that James Gunn attempted to do really too much. There's almost too many things going on there.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. That's kind of hopeful for the, broadly speaking, right? With everything that we've been going through for the last 6 months or so, and even really the election last year, in the culture. Um, okay. Well, I now
Yeah.
know this might be to think about this. I don't think I've seen a movie in the theaters yet this year.
Definitely worth seeing. I think it could have been an even better if they had made some leave some things on the cutting room floor. I think this could have been a truly great movie. And I don't think it's that. But you know what it is like? It's probably like Top Gun Maverick
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
sense of I don't think that 20 years from now I'm going to be going back to revisit Top Gun Maverick. But man, the year it came out when we all needed something, it gave us what we needed.
Yeah.
And you know, and look, I mean, I'm a middle-aged dude. I'm probably not the target audience for superhero movies to begin with. But I think that that there is decency and something refreshing that
Yeah.
we're hungering for, that you can get. And it could have been even better, but it's worth seeing.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Let's wrap it up on
All
a
right.
positive note. We started with Epstein. We wrap with Superman. That's a good way to end it.
Could be worse.
I'm Tom LoBianco, editor, co-founder, 24 Site News. This is Matt Lewis. Matt, where we get your work, man? Where we find
Oh.
you aside from these multiple streams?
Yes. Well, read me at the LA Times, where I have now a weekly column, Tom. It's usually coming out on Fridays. And The Hill, where I have a fortnightly column. So
What's
check
a
me
fortnight?
out
Is
there.
that 20 days?
Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
Oh,
You could say bi-weekly, but it's unclear whether that's twice a week or every 2 weeks. So I say fortnightly.
Fortnightly. I
Mhm.
like it, man. Oh, that's okay. I should do something fortnightly.
It's a good word.
Awesome.
It's not just a video game.
It's a way of life. It's
Yeah.
a life system. Life hack. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We're still figuring out all this, like the quadruple, quintuple streaming stuff. So if you lost us on one of the platforms, this video will be up. Either 24 Site, Matt Lewis, Matt K. Lewis. There's a lot of Matt Lewises out there. Make sure to, if you need to, insert that K.
Yes.
And all right, man. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Tom.
Peace.